turns out it was you I was missing all along.
Veteran Canadian singer-songwriter Lynn Miles has just released her 16th album. Its title is Tumbleweedy World, and yep, it's a COVID album, but it's that and much more. We found Lynn at home in Ottawa, preparing for release day. So how does it feel to be releasing your 16th album?
Everything's okay, everything's alright.
I feel good. It's my 16th album, so I'm kind of used to it.
Right?
But
You've done this before.
Yeah, my whole thing is to get, like, I write a lot of songs, so my whole thing is to get my kids out of the house. So my songs are my kids. If I can record them and get them out, then I stop worrying about them. So I can stop worrying about these songs, and then people can hear them. So it's really cool. I can't believe I've done 16 albums. So that in itself.
What motivates
really
you to
cool.
write so many songs?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's, partially it's therapy for myself. Partially I've been writing since I was probably 10. It's just something I've always done. I've always wanted to express myself. And I don't know, it just seems to be a compulsion or an addiction or a healthy addiction, I think.
Right. And you come from a legacy of amazing Canadian songwriters anyway, so maybe there's something in the water over there, huh?
I think there is. I think there's 6 months of winter for most of us. So what else are we going to do? Right? Write songs.
So the album is titled Tumbleweedy World, or Work rather. I can't read my own writing, so
Tumbleweedy World.
Yes. And what does that mean to us, to you?
Well, this is a pandemic record, so some of the songs were written during the pandemic and some of them were recorded, and the whole thing was recorded during the pandemic. And I live on a really busy street. You might hear some horns and stuff at some point.
All right.
And at one point I looked out on this street that's always busy and saw no cars and really expected to see tumbleweed blowing across the road.
Oh, I know what yeah.
Like it was bleak. So and I managed to put that line in one of the songs. I'm just a lonesome drifting girl in my tumbleweedy world. So I just decided that's what I would name the record.
So are things back to normal now over there, or is it a different normal or is same normal?
It's a bit different than it was. I think we all have a little PTSD and we're a little shaky, but and it's weird to go somewhere and not wear a mask. So I'm still feeling that. There's still COVID around.
Right.
People are still dying of it, but people, I think, have sort of accepted that it's here and we sort of learned how to live with it. So now there's lots of traffic and lots of people go into crowds, and so it's almost back to normal, but I don't know that we'll ever be back to normal because our food prices have gone way skyrocketing high.
Same here, yeah.
Everything else is, and restaurants have closed that are never going to open again and all that stuff that happened. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty. And what about when you're performing? Is it a different kind of vibe? Are people kind of wary of being out and about, or what is?
Well, I really didn't perform for almost three years. And that was weird. That's weird for me because I've been doing that my whole life. So the first couple of performances was a bit shaky.
Right.
But I find the audiences are really appreciative that you're there. And I really, I've had canceled some shows because we'd had another wave of COVID in our town. So I would just cancel the shows because my demographic is my age. I'm 64. I don't want anybody my age getting COVID. I had it last year. It's not good. So, I'm very cautious with them, and I make sure that, I put it out there. Just, if you don't feel comfortable, don't come. Well, there'll be another time in the future. So I do that, and it's been good. And so now I'm about to do 2 sold out shows for my CD release in my hometown. And so that'll be lots of people I haven't seen in 3 years probably. So it's awesome.
Sounds like fun. And when you perform, is it solo? Do you have a band? What's it like?
Well, I'm going to play with the band that played on this record. And we've had a couple rehearsals and it's really fun. It's kind of bluegrassy, and I would never deem to call myself a bluegrass musician because I have so much respect for the genre. I'm not a bluegrass musician. I love bluegrass music, and I love the people who play it and write it. Yep. But I've always aspired to be at the lower level of it, you know. So I always wanted to make a record with, you know, the bluegrass flavors of the dobro and the mandolin and the banjo and the fiddle. So that's what I did with these songs. And so I've got a band that's comprised of those instruments, and it's really, really fun. So
Right.
looking
So
forward to
you recorded the album with them. Tell me about the sessions. Where, how, when, why? How did it feel?
Well, there's a studio about a half a mile from my house, so I could walk to it. It's an analog studio.
Okay.
So for listeners, you know, you might have seen something in the olden days with the giant reels of tape spinning
2-inch
around.
tape.
2-inch tape. And so that's what this studio has, which I love. And
Yep.
you know, I'm an analog person. I'm not a digital person. So I love just being in the room with the big tape. And then all the like tube mics, which are warm, and like, so everything's warm. And then when you play a fiddle through a tube mic, you hear the bow going across the strings, and then it goes on to tape, which makes it even warmer. And there's just something about that I love. So that's how we did it. We did most of it live off the floor with the band. So I'd count it in and we'd just play the song. And then we'd added some overdubs. We had the fiddle player later, and some of the banjo later. But the basic band was, we had a stand-up bass, dobro, and guitar and mandolin. That was our band, and I would just start playing and singing to that, and it was really, really fun.
Right. And do you present these songs to the musicians beforehand, or are they introduced to them in the studio? How do you work?
Well, they're introduced to them in the studio, and we were talking about that the other night. So some of them like that and some of them don't like it, and I said, well, you know, I don't want to give it to you so that you develop your own parts and then you're stuck to them, and you get sort of adamant that you need to play this part, because I have these parts in my head that I really want to hear.
Right.
But I want you to be free to express yourself. I just don't want you to get locked in. So it's an ongoing debate. I've been this is my 16th album, and I'm still questioning whether I should give them the songs beforehand or not, because, you know, then you're in the studio. Studios cost money, so time is money. So then they're in the studio basically learning the songs, right?
Right.
So that takes up time and money. So it's an ongoing debate.
But that's also kind of where the magic happens too, isn't it?
It is where the magic happens, where somebody like my mandolin player, his name is Joey Wright. He's so good. And he came up with these parts that are so beautiful. And, you know, out of thin air, just like listened to the song and went, okay, and then played these parts. And I just thought, well, you know, there's a reason why we don't let you have the songs beforehand. So yeah, it's an ongoing debate.
I see you've released one of the tracks is Johnny Without June. Obviously, we know what Johnny and June were. Tell me a little bit about, if you don't mind, why you wrote that song. What inspired you?
I'm the earth without the sun, a bullet with no gun. I'm a flower with no bloom, a lone wolf howling at the moon. I'm a sailor lost at sea, learning how deep blue can be. I'm a song without a tune. I'm Johnny without June.
Well, this is a cool story. So I went to Halifax, Nova Scotia, and I teach songwriting classes to groups of people. And I was teaching a class, there were about 20 people. And usually when I teach a group like that, I will ask everybody to just give me like a 30-second synopsis of why they're there. And this one woman named Maxine Wallace said, well, I write lyrics, but I'm not a musician, and I'm always looking for musicians to write the melodies and the chords. So at one point I said, okay, show me your lyrics. And she showed me that song, Johnny Without June. It's beautiful. And I was shocked. You know, she's very quiet, unassuming person, sort of timid, came up. And I went, oh my God, this is so beautiful. I would be honored to write the music for this. And she was thrilled. So I wrote the music for it. And then I emailed her and said, hey, I'm going to put this song on an album. She was like, oh my God, that's never happened to me before. So now the album has come out, and I get radio reports, and it's being played all over the place, you know, like in Australia, New Zealand, England, Ireland, Italy, Japan. And so every time I get one of those reports, I send it to her, and
cool.
she's like, "Oh my God, it's like Christmas every day!" Like she just can't believe it. I've blown her mind, which I love. And then she also sent me some other lyrics, which I wrote another song with, and it's really great. Like she's such a good lyricist. And so I told her if I do Tumbleweedy 2, then I will put that one on Tumbleweedy 2. So we'll have like an ongoing thing. So I keep encouraging her to write because she's really great.
Tumbleweedy 2 is a great title.
I know. It's sort of like you have to do it for the title alone.
Very good. Now, I see you also have a song called Sorry's Not Good Enough.
Yeah.
When I heard that, I was like, it sounds like it might be somebody in particular that this song was written about.
You hate everyone right now. You're acting up and falling down, kicking dirt and tearing up the town. But nobody did you wrong. You wrote your own sad song. Sorry's just not good enough this time.
Generally, for me, songs are really about many experiences aiming at the same target, you know. So it's more than one person, and it's taking sort of some of traits and putting them all into one person. So he's not a good not a good person, but it's an amalgamation of many. So yeah. But it's really about, like, you know, you've apologized so many times that your apologies are now empty, and you know, that's what the song's about.
Cool.
Yeah.
And the song, the album opens with Night Owl, which you can hear the banjo and some pedal steel. Why is that the opening track?
I'm a night owl, that's a fact. I like the world when it's still and black. I'm a night owl, it's in my blood. I won't change for you, I'm a stick in the mud.
Okay, it's not pedal steel, it's dobro.
Okay, sorry.
Okay,
thank you.
Yes, yes. The dobro players of the world will be happy that we clarified that.
Yes, I'm sure they will.
I liked it because the main instrument I wanted to hear on my record was dobro. I love the dobro. It's sad and beautiful, has longing in it. It's emotive. It sounds like it's 100 years old. And I wanted that sound to open the record. So the first thing you hear is a dobro slide. And then I start the song solo. And then the band comes in. And it's also, the song is really about me because I am a night owl. I'm not till 4 a.m.
Right.
And it's hard to maintain any kind of relationships, or the only lifestyle I could have was to be a touring musician. So, yeah. So that's sort of why I started it with that. And it's got a nice sort of groove. It just kind of sits there. It's not too fast, not too slow. And that's why I wanted to open but really it was about having a dobro slide as the first sound on the record.
Cool. All righty. Now, I don't know how much you want to talk about this, but I believe you use GoFundMe, because a lot of musicians are independent here and they do similar things.
Yeah.
You had some kind of issues that I saw somewhere, and I was wondering if...
Hey, GoFundMe, let me into my freaking account.
Yeah, what happened there?
Well, they set up a two-tier check-in, which they never did before. I used to just, like, it was on my computer. I had a password. I'd just log in. I could see who the people were. I could send them emails. And now it's like a two-tier thing. So you try to log in. They say, no, we're going to send you a code to your phone.
Yeah.
And so I never received the code. I've done this 20 times. Yep. I'm never receiving the code. So I can't actually get into my account to send the people the rewards that they've so kindly contributed to. So it's a freaking nightmare. So I've had people, I put that on my Facebook and my website. Please, if you contributed, please send me an email, tell me what you did, and give me an address, and I'll send you out some stuff. So if you're out there and you contributed, just send me something on my website. And if you work for GoFundMe, I have some choice words for you, but I won't say them on the radio.
Do you think it's because you're in Canada and maybe it's based in the US and it's like...
No, I don't think so. Yeah. I think, well, okay, maybe it is. But, then they have like a little robot person on the side who tells you Okay, now just change your password. So I changed your password, and then change your browser. Then I changed my browser.
Yep.
Then change this.
Yep.
No, can we send it to a different phone number? I was like, no, I don't have another phone number.
Right.
And then they send you emails and say, we see you're having trouble. We'll get back to you. And then they don't get back to you.
Yeah.
So I've actually been swearing at them in the emails because I know it's just robots, right?
Sure.
So I'm just like, I'm swearing at robots in my emails.
Could be a new song.
I'm swearing at robots in my emails. That's the title of the song. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now, I've had similar issues. I'm in New Zealand, but I'm American, as you can probably tell.
Yeah.
And I have a bank account in the U.S. that's supposed to be easy to go back and forth. And yeah, they do the same thing. They want to check in and verify, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Phone number, but they can't do that overseas. So I had to have my sister, who lives in Florida, use her phone number. Then they verify to her, and then she calls me with the verification number. I mean, it's just insane.
I think I'm going to have to find somebody and ask them if they'll do that with me. That's what I decided today.
Yeah. There is always a solution, but there shouldn't have to be that much work and just
it's in the age of communication, with quotation marks there. This should be really simple.
Yeah.
Right? It just seems like everything takes twice as long now. That's why I'm an analog person.
Okay.
One of the many reasons. It just seems like if you just wrote it down on a piece of paper, all would be well.
Right. Let's see. These are my notes. They're on paper.
Well, my notes are on paper too. So there you go.
If I can read my writing, all problems would be solved, but that's another problem.
Yeah. You should have been a doctor if your writing is bad. Isn't that?
I never thought of that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
still time to go to med school.
Yeah, not for me, I don't think. Anyway, so the album's coming out on Friday. You release shows in Ottawa and in Toronto. You do some teaching as well. So, are you thinking about what do you got mapped out for yourself in the near future? Well,
it's been a weird time because usually if you're booking shows, you're booking 6 months to a year to 2 years out.
Right.
And in the last year, my mother passed away in December, and she was ill for the year before that. So I really wasn't thinking about anything. Plus, I wasn't playing shows because of COVID. I couldn't go anywhere because of COVID because I didn't want to give her COVID.
Right.
So I didn't do anything. The only thing I did was record this record.
Mm.
And then, I did a GoFundMe, but also there's a Canadian label called True North Records, and I just sent it to them because I've worked with them before.
Yep.
And they liked it and they picked it up.
Yay.
So the reason it's getting airplay all over the place is because of them, and they're such a great record label. So I just want to thank them. And if you're interested in them, it's called True North Records.
I've heard of them. Yep.
Canadian label. The Bruce Coburn is on there, and
a
bunch of other great artists. Anyway, so I didn't do anything for myself for the last couple of years because my mom wasn't well. So now I have to start thinking about, and she passed away in December. So now I have to start getting through the grief, the waves of grief that happen.
Yep.
And then trying to figure out, okay, now what am I going to do? So, and the touring, I'm 64. Touring is harder as you get older. It's exhausting. It's always exhausting, even if you're 20.
Right.
So I'm trying to pick the shows carefully and not do too much and not wear myself out, and kind of get back into it and do some writing. And so we'll see what happens. I do want to make Tumbleweedy too. I have all the songs ready because I have a lot of songs. I've written 900 songs. I've only recorded 16 albums. So I have a lot of songs lying around that I would like to get out of the house. So I have some songs for it, and I maybe could write some other ones as well if I feel like writing. I haven't written in a while. So there's that I want to do. I want to do a piano album because I have all these piano songs that I've written, and I'd like to do a piano record. So those are the two things I'm thinking about at this point.
Cool. Sounds like things are happening. And hopefully, maybe sometime you head south, come down here and play some songs for us. That'd be nice.
I just want to shout out to Jennifer, Al, and George because Jennifer's my sort of cousin. Al is a partner, and George is her son. And I think he's about 2.5 or 3. Anyway, he's very cute. And they live in New Zealand, and they live on the southernmost island, or they were
Stewart Island.
I think they lived in a park on the very south she was worked in the park, and so did he, and that's how they met. They met on the rat trap line. Isn't that
Okay.
romantic? Yeah,
That
they
sounds
met
lovely.
trapping rats, so they belong together. But anyway, I just want to say hi to them.
Cool. Yay.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. Well, thank you for taking time to talk to me, and good luck with
Oh,
the
Marty, thank
release
you.
shows and the release
Thank
itself and
you.
all that stuff.
If
All
I
righty.
ever come to New Zealand, let's have a coffee.
Definitely.
We'll meet
All
up.
righty.
Okay. All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye bye.